Hi, I'm Kaz. Welcome to the Ulti Show's special editions from the World Games in Poland. Special guest here with me today, Rueben, right? Can you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do here?
Sure, so my name is Rueben Berg. I'm the chair of the WFDF Ultimate Rules subcommittee, and I'm also a game advisor here at the World Games.
Fantastic. So there may be some people watching this show who have just started playing Ultimate, maybe haven't played any yet, but might start to play. And they might be wondering, what is a game advisor exactly? What is your role when you're game advising?
That's a very good question. So as hopefully a lot of people know, Ultimate is self-officiated and the players are responsible for making all the calls on the field.
Right.
And that's a really fantastic system, and that's something that WFDF is really proud of. But sometimes the players might need some assistance to help them, and that's really what a game advisor is. When we have game advisors, the players are still solely responsible for making all the calls, and the game advisors are just there as their assistants. That's the way we like to look at it.
Okay, so they're supporting the game in that sense.
Yeah,
That's
supporting
fantastic.
the game, supporting the players.
Wonderful. So I was chatting to some of your colleagues yesterday, some of the other game advisors, and you have a team of 8 here, is that right?
We do, yeah.
8 people, including 3 women, which is also good to see. And they were saying, you know, it's actually quite a tough thing to be able to do. You need to do a bunch of training, you need a lot of experience out there. If there are aspiring game advisors out there, what can you tell them about what they should do to learn the practice?
Sure, so the most important thing to be a game advisor is to actually know the rules, to have a really good understanding of the rules, because that's one of your roles. The players might actually ask you to clarify a rule, and you need to actually know what they are to be able to do that. And then you need to be able to know the right places to be. So one of the key challenges of being a game advisor is moving up and down the field in the right spots, so you can have a good view. But really, I think one of the biggest challenges is being able to communicate effectively on the field. And that's something you can practice as a player. And that shows good spirit to actually communicate your disputes in a way that is measured and calm, because that's what you need to do as a game advisor as well.
Okay, so could we do an example? Can you give us a little demo?
Sure, of course, not a problem.
So let's say you're on the field and we're playing, and you're trying to throw the disc,
Yes.
and I'm hitting your arm.
Yes.
What's the next step after that? What
So I would
happens?
call a foul.
Yeah.
And then if we're having a discussion, I would say, well, to me, it felt like you were hitting my arm.
Okay.
And that's a great way to describe it, and that's the way we would describe it if asked by as a game advisor.
Okay.
You're not saying you did this, you did that. I felt this happened. And that's a good way to start those conversations, and then you can hear what they think happened and make your decisions based on that.
And then if I was to say, oh, I think I can test that, I don't think I actually did that.
Yep.
How would we resolve that kind of
So
conflict?
one of your options you do have, even in non-game advised games, is to just ask some of your teammates or other players what they thought.
Okay.
If you do have game advisors, you can ask their opinion. But
Okay.
if you can't agree, it just treats as contested, and the disc will go back to the last non-disputed throw, or just, if I'm the thrower,
Yeah.
it'll be maximum stalling 6.
Okay, so there's options basically all lined out on there.
There are, yep.
Fantastic to have that option to go to the game advisor as well.
Definitely.
So, you know, we've already had a few games today. There's been some quite close ones, less close ones. Some really tough calls for you guys out there, I think. What have been some of the more difficult things you've had to deal with so far?
Well, lucky for us, we don't have to make any calls at all. We're just there to provide some advice.
True, yeah.
There was a tricky one when there was an injury and there was some language barriers and trying to work out exactly what was happening on the field. That's always a challenge. So that was one of the tricky ones for today.
Okay.
Otherwise, it's been pretty straightforward, but there's always constantly things you have to do as a game advisor.
Yeah.
Timing between points, watching for offside, making sure our new gender ratio rules are working well.
Right.
There's a lot to do.
Yeah, I'm sure. Busy, huh? So you need to be really concentrating.
You do, yeah.
So towards the end of this tournament, you know, I guess things are going to be heating up a bit. People are going to perhaps be that little bit more competitive even than they were before.
Sure.
As a game advisor, do you ever feel like you have obstacles to being a game advisor for a certain team? Like if people have biases towards a certain country or not? How do you go about resolving that kind of potential issue?
Yeah, so at this level here, we've got a really good level set of game advisors who are really experienced and know what they're doing. So we don't have any real concerns about issues of conflicts.
Okay.
We've got lots of Americans who they'll game advise American games, Canadians who game advise Canadian games, and as an Australian, I'll game advise the Australian games. And that's because there's 4 of us as well, it balances out.
Nice.
But also because we're only providing advice.
Yeah.
It's still up to the players to make all the decisions. So if they feel like it's a biased opinion the players do, they can just make their own calls still. So.
Okay. It sounds like quite a tough gig actually sometimes, but absolute respect to you guys for doing what you do. On a personal note, how did you get into all this game advising? What brings you out to
Well,
the field?
so having been involved in the rules for quite some time,
Yeah.
I was in Cali for last World Games,
Okay.
and I had kind of an unofficial role as the rules guru, being there on the sideline to help out if the players had any questions around rules.
Okay.
And it was after that exercise there at Cali that we realised we probably need to have a bit more structure around how that works.
Yeah.
And so I was part of the task force to actually see of what the best way was for helping to make self-officiation work the best way possible. And
Fantastic.
so from that task force, we came up with this idea of game advisors.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for all your hard work. Thank you for this interview.
No worries.
So guys, you've heard it here from the rules guru himself. Some advice on if you want to be a game advisor, if you want to get out there and try and do some of this hard but really essential work, giving support and advice to the players and to the game. That's it for this special edition of the LT Show. Catch you later.